How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. This is the Sunny in the Belt podcast, where we share with you our Sun Belt Conference men's basketball picks. This is our third episode. My name is Jacob.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jordan.
And these are our, we're going to recap our picks from this past Saturday, which was February the 5th, and give you our picks for Thursday, February the 10th. Go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at @SunnyInTheBelt_, and like and subscribe this video on YouTube, and leave your picks in the comments down below. We'd love to interact. But let's get started. Jordan, why don't you lead us off with recapping Saturday's picks? We had a pretty good Saturday.
Yeah, going into it, we sort of picked the same lines, with the exception of maybe a money line and a point spread here or there. Overall, we both went 4-2, both missing and hitting on the same ones. First game, we had South Alabama. And the way that game went, Jacob, is just another storybook slow start for South Alabama with that game. Could not get it going in the first half, tried making a comeback, could not do it. A heartbreaking way to kind of start off the series with that loss. Obviously kind of had repetitive hints of what happened last time, so wasn't feeling too good, but fortunately the rest of the night went better. I don't know if you have any comments on that first game with South Alabama and Georgia State.
I felt like they had shown a strong second half on Thursday, and they were going to continue that strong second half. Even though they had lost, I thought they had picked it up and they were going to come in hot on Saturday, but the same thing happened. They started off slow, and it was just too much for them to overcome. Looking at our other picks, we both talked about how ULM wanted to make a statement on the road this week, and we were proven right. I think they really made a statement for themselves that they're not going to be walked over. That was one of the things that we had talked about last episode. We also talked about how Troy wasn't getting any love. Like, we had no clue why this team was an underdog two games in a row.
No idea.
And so our pick paid off on that. Troy has solidified themselves in second place right now. We'll talk about this week's game in a sec. UL couldn't get it done after a blowout win over Little Rock. Based off of the spread we're seeing for their game against South Al this week, it might just be because Little Rock is not good.
Right.
So shout out to Arkansas State. They kind of recapping what I said last episode, they did what they do best, better than what UL did.
Yeah.
Trying to do their best, right?
It was definitely a disappointing loss. It really wasn't. The game really wasn't even close the whole way. So
yeah, Cajuns tried to fight back, pulled it within 4, but couldn't get over the hump.
The last two games with Texas State, solid win. They barely covered the spread there, Jacob. In fact, a couple of these barely covered. ULM went into overtime, won by 3.
Thank God.
Texas State won by 5, close game there. And then even the App game, App State had to make a little comeback there. But overall, I mean, you got to win these tough ones. I picked a few money lines, Troy money line, App money line. So I was very, very pleased overall. South Alabama, if that game goes, differently, we're 5-1. The UL game, kind of just an outlier, but some great games this past weekend. Excited for this week to come. Hopefully we can get another positive record, go out above 500 on this one.
Yeah. So let's recap where we are since we started this podcast. Right now, our current standings are Jordan, you're at 5-6 after that rough first go where you started off 1-4, but you're on the come up. I'm sitting at 6-5, so we're pretty close. Vegas wasn't built on winners.
No, Matt, this is if you were to tell me, hey, if someone were to ask me, hey, what are your betting statistics at? I'd say, oh, around 500. And it's usually one or two below 500. So I feel like I'm where I'm at right now. So
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if our records improve or decline going on. But first game this week, we got one of the fiercest rivalries in the Sun Belt. You know, these two teams really get after it in football. Now we're going to see it on the hardwood with Georgia Southern traveling up to Boone to play at App State. App State's a 6.5-point favorite. App State's the conference leader. They're holding on to that number one spot right now. Jordan, what you think about this one?
yeah, so App State is favored by 6.5 in this one. Again, we're pretty high on App State, especially when it comes to Sun Belt play. They were able to get us the victory last week. So against UTA. So going into this one, I kind of like App State here. 6.5 is a lot of points. So we're kind of have to be cautious on that. Georgia Southern coming off the loss against Troy. Just again, Georgia Southern's kind of a weird team, right? I remember the first game we picked against them and they ended up winning. They kind of surprised us. I know, they're one of those teams that when they're on, the balance thing is kind of there with a lot of these teams in the Sun Belt. But in the end, this game is at home for App State. It's in Boone. App State is the hot team in the Sun Belt right now. They're the number one team in the Sun Belt. So give me App State minus 6.5. Hopefully we can start off the night very good.
Yeah, no, I'm making the same pick on this one. I'm taking App State and laying the points. They've got the conference player of the year contender, Adrian Delph, is on their team, and he's having a great season. The dude's shooting almost 40% from behind the 3-point line. He's leading this team. He is just carried off of the momentum that they finished with last season. I think when you look at Georgia Southern, got to give them props. They won 2 tough games, and they were tough. They won against South Alabama. They grinded, they pulled it out, they got that win. But they play a lot of these teams too close. It's not very high scoring. They're very defensive. A lot of times they push to the last bucket, but I just feel with App State being at home, being the conference leader, knowing that how the conference standings work this year, we're getting closer to seeding for the conference tournament. It's based off of win percentage in conference play. Right. Because of the canceled COVID games, canceled weather games. It's not based off of your record. It's based off of win percentage. They're at 9-3 right now in conference games. You've got Troy at 7-3 and Arkansas State at 6-3 right behind them. And one loss can really make a difference, So I think App State rolls in this one, covers the spread and takes the win, and hopefully starts us off really good for our Thursday night picks.
Hopefully so.
Pick this one.
Yeah, so we got Arkansas State at Troy. This is my game of the week, Jacob. A very, very tough matchup here.
Number 2 and number 3 in the conference.
Yeah, this game is going to mean a lot just because whoever wins this one is going to jump to the number 2 spot. And if I'm not mistaken, I think App State, no matter how they do and no matter how this game goes, will still be number 1. I could be wrong.
Yeah. This is kind of the game to see who's actually going to challenge App State.
Yeah, this is my game of the week, easy. I was back and forth on this one just because of how well Arkansas State came back and played against UL. They looked like the Arkansas State team that we thought we knew going into the first week of doing this podcast. And then with Troy, man, every single time, finally it looks like they're starting to get a little respect with this -3. And that's the respect I'm going to give them. I'm going to take Troy here -3. I just love the way they're playing right now, Jacob. And, it seems like each time, I would love to see if I can get it up. Let me see their statistics on against the spread. And yeah, it looks like they are 13 and 13-7 this year against the spread. That's very good. That's a very good percentage, especially when you're talking about covering the points and whether you're favored or underdogs. So I'm going to take those odds here. This is going to be a tough matchup. You can easily take Arkansas State money line if you even wanted to, because they can easily win this game. But the game is at home for Troy, and I just like how they're playing right now, coming off some big wins. So give me Troy at -3.
Yeah, I'm also taking Troy -3 for this one. I will say though, I think Arkansas State is the more talented team. If there's
Mhm.
any player in the conference that could challenge Adrian Delph for Conference Player of the Year, it's Norchad Omier on Arkansas State. This dude is incredible. He's getting like second round NBA draft grades. He's a 6'7" forward, super athletic, one of the best rebounders in the league, and his shot percentage within the 3-point line is like over 60%. Like the dude's really good. I think Arkansas State has the talent, edges out Troy talent wise. However, I think this game is going to come down to coaching and home court advantage. And when I compare Mike Bellotto to Scott Cross is a winner and he's at home. Troy has been putting up some monster crowds this year. They're breaking like records for home attendance. And I think it's going to be a rowdy crowd. The home court advantage is going to be there. And with it being a 3-point spread, I think whoever wins this game is going to win by 3 or more. And I think Troy is going to win this game. So I'm going to
Yeah.
give it to Troy. I think they're really going to try to push and be on App State's tail, going for that conference championship. But I think the Trojans, as you said, deserve the respect. You know, they've shown that they can win time and time again.
And let's give a big shout out to Scott Cross, the coach. He's done a very good job this year, just putting this team together.
Yeah, it's a real team. They're playing team basketball.
They
Like
really
there's
are. I mean, I was watching them this past weekend. You do your best. You do the best you can. Trying to watch all these games and trying to learn more about them and how they play. And I've learned a lot about a lot of different teams. Georgia Southern, I know now has a very interactive student section that really helps them out. Just a lot of different things you learn about these teams watching these games. And you're right, Troy just seems to, they remind me a little bit. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. They remind me of the 2011 Mavericks, where they don't have the greatest of talent. They have talent, but they play as a team and as a unit, and they kind of gel together. And that's sort of why I'm giving Troy the advantage here at -3, just because I just feel like team basketball will win over talent any day.
for sure. I'll take the lead on this one. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. Georgia State's coming in as a 1-point underdog. They finally came off of a good win this past Saturday. The shooting is back. This team is going to be dangerous as we get closer to March. They proved that they are not going down without a fight. I think Georgia State wins this outright. I'm taking them money line. I think the closer and closer we get to tournament time, Georgia State's going to get better and better. I don't know what seed they'll end up with come conference tournament time, but as we know, historically in our conference, Georgia State is a tough team to beat in that conference tournament. Coastal Carolina has been struggling recently. As we can see from the conference records, Coastal's 4-6, Georgia State's 3-5, but Georgia State's 3-5 and has come off with their 3 wins in the past, 3 or 4 games, right? They're a hot team right now, and I think they go on the road and take the dub outright. So I'm taking Georgia State money line.
I'm going to have to agree with you here. Georgia State, they're coming off this good win against South Alabama. And the game before that, they played Troy to the very end, only losing by 4. So they're really playing good basketball. They're coming off some really tough games with South Alabama and Troy, and they were able to go 1-1, almost 2-0. Coastal Carolina, on the other hand, they have been struggling, like you said. They lost to Texas State this past weekend. Georgia State is just one of those teams. It's hard to bet against them, especially in Sun Belt play, because we just know how good historically Georgia State is in basketball. So I kind of see this game going toward Georgia State. I'm taking a money line as well. I can see it being a very close game, a game that kind of is decided within the last 2-3 minutes. It's going to be a tough one because it's at Coastal Carolina. I know they don't necessarily get the biggest of crowds, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, it's still going to be a home court advantage for Coastal. It's going to be a very tough game. Coastal -1. I can see it a little bit, but on the other hand, it's this game could go either way. And actually, I'm looking at the updated lines right now, Jacob. It actually just went up to -1.5. So that's something to keep an eye on. But
More money for me for money line.
Yeah, I'm going to take Georgia State here. It's not going to change my mind at all. So hopefully, I mean, this is going to be a true test, for both of these teams. Like who's going to come out, going into the tournament hot. I feel like it kind of starts this week. Like who's going to lift their conference record above 500? It's going to be one of these teams. I guarantee you, one of these teams is going to be above 500 in conference play by the end of the year. And I feel like this game is kind of going to decide which team is going to do that.
Next game is UT Arlington at UL Monroe. This is my game of the week, or game of the day for Thursday. I think UTA is a talented team. You've got UL Monroe coming off of a strong weekend, showing that they upset. They were an 8-point underdog against Arkansas State. They upset them. They won the game. Then they go into overtime against Little Rock and pull off a win. And although Little Rock isn't the most talented of teams, they showed that they could go on the road and sweep, right? They got a sweep in Arkansas.
Great.
I'm taking UT Arlington in this one. We got an even spread. They think it's going to be a tough fight. ULM does have the home court advantage, but I think that UTA is just going to be too fast for them. I said the same thing about Arkansas State. I thought Arkansas State was going to take it away in the second half. One of the things I talked about with that ULM Arkansas State game was I said ULM's going to hang in there in the first half and Arkansas State's going to pull away in the second. They proved me wrong, straight up. Respect to ULM. But I think in this game, you've got a team in UTA that's really pushing for a better seed in the conference tournament. They're trying to perfect their game as they get closer. I think it's just going to be a good game regardless. That's why I picked it for my game of the day. But I think when it comes down to it, UTA is going to be just a bit better than ULM on this night. So I'm taking the Mavs.
This is where we disagree here. I'm going to go with ULM. And the reason why is because I sort of like how they've been playing. I like how they're being coached right now. And also I like how their official Twitter page is following us on Twitter. So those are 3 reasons why I'm liking ULM right now. I do feel like this is a big game for UTA though, bigger than ULM, because of their conference record. ULM, they started off so bad, I think they were 2-8 before last week, and they could have easily thrown in the towel. That weekend could have easily going into Arkansas State, 8-point underdogs, could have easily thrown in the towel, say, you know what, this just isn't our year. We're not really gonna go into this full speed, but they did the exact opposite. They really come along. I feel like they're finally starting to get it together. And this is going to be a tough test for UTA. They're coming off a pretty tough loss, but at the same time, they're looking to bounce back. They're looking to get their conference record back up to 500. But at the end of the day, I feel like this home court advantage could be the difference maker because, look at the odds makers here. They don't even know. It's even money, no matter who you choose. And I just feel like ULM has the advantage, especially with how they're being coached, with how they're playing. I feel like they have confidence after that sweep on the road in Arkansas. So give me ULM money line here.
All right. Second to last game for our Thursday night, we got Texas State visiting Louisiana. Cajun Dome tip-off, 7 p.m. UL coming in as a 1-point favorite at home. What'd you think about this one, Jordan?
Yeah, it's tough, man, to bet against, your alma mater, your school that you went to, but I have to here. Give me Texas State money line. This UL has just been so frustrating. And I know it's because I'm a fan. I watch the games differently, but that game last week it just was not good. I mean, they were down by like 15 at one point in the first like 10 minutes of the game, just not looking good at all. They were able to come back a little bit, like we said earlier, got it down to like 4 or 5. But in the end, it was just too much, that you just run out of gas. And I just feel like Texas State is the better team here. They play better. They execute what they're supposed to do. And, we talk about Bob Marlin a lot, Jacob and I one-on-one, the coach for Louisiana, and, his history and what he's done for the program and how he's has the most wins out of any coach in the Sun Belt. And that's all fine and dandy. But, the expectations at Louisiana are very high, especially when it comes to sports in general. So there's a lot of social media buzz that I know I've been seeing fire Bobby Marlin. A lot of people want him gone in Louisiana. This game at the Cajun Dome, there's going to be fans there. They're going to be watching closely. This is a big test for Bobby. Because a lot of people are pissed off and a lot of people want to see a change. I know you, having worked close with him, have a better sort of intake of who he is as a coach and as a person. So kind of would like your take on sort of, just how the fans are not really too pleased with the Cajuns coach right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm taking UL -1 in this game. I agree with you. Louisiana athletics, we have high expectations, right? We've got a storied softball program who competes in regionals and super regionals every year. Our baseball team, historically the same way, right? They're pushing for College World Series. Our football team is coming off the best 4 years we've ever had in college football. Our women's basketball team last year won the regular season conference championship and lost in the conference tournament championship. Our soccer program, under our most recent head coach, they've improved like big time, right? Coming off their first tournament wins and not for the first time in program history, but for the first time in a while, right? Having some wins in conference tournament play. When it comes to Louisiana athletics, it's fans. We have high expectations for our teams. I'm the same way. Like when I look at this record and see 10-11, 5-6 in conference play, it's not something I'm happy about or something I'm bragging about, for sure. I think that Coach Marlin and his staff and the players look at that record the same way and are not happy about it, right? They're disappointed just like us. But when I think about, fan criticism and things like that, there's a lot of thoughts that cross through my mind, right? Number one is like, it might seem, because we have these high expectations, it's important for us also to look at things relatively, right? Since 2014, Louisiana has more conference wins, like more Sun Belt conference wins than any other team in our conference, right? So like, although we're disappointed in our current record, which is justified, our program has seen more wins in conference play than any other program in our conference, which is something we might take for granted. Should it be better? Could it be better? For sure, no doubt. Another thing I think about is like, what is it, like the grass is always greener, right? A lot of times we think to ourselves like, okay, the grass is always greener on the other side. If we were to get rid of Coach Marlin and get a new coach in here, we could be way better than we currently are, right? Well, when I look back and like think about, okay, what are some recent hires in our conference? When a school at a mid-major like us is looking for a new head coach, you look to two different routes, right? You're either going to hire an assistant from a top program, from a high major program, or you're going to look for a current head coach who is successful and has been succeeding at a low major program, right? So two examples I can give that have happened within the last 5 to 6 years are Mike Bellato at Arkansas State, who was one of Rick Pitino's assistants at Louisville. He got hired by Arkansas State about 5 years ago, and he has not won a conference championship or like regular season or conference tournament championship. So they went out and hired one of the top, a top assistant coach at a top program, right? Louisville assistant coach. I think if we were looking at it today, it's like, okay, we just hired an assistant from Duke, right? And then they don't really have much to show for it. A really successful low major coach example I can give is South Alabama, right? South Alabama went out and hired Richie Riley, who was the head coach at Nichols. He led Nichols to their first Southland Conference championship in their school history. He was really successful. He was able to go out and get transfers into the program, get them acclimated and turn them into a winning program. He gets hired by South Alabama. They have yet to win a conference championship, regular season, or tournament. On the flip side, you have App State, who we have a lot of high praise for, right? Their head coach came from a school called Presbyterian, right? He wasn't super duper successful there. He turned around a bad program. He had some over 500 seasons, nothing too crazy, nothing too outstanding. And he's been successful, right? He's leading the conference this season. He won the conference tournament championship last year. But I think like if we were to fire Coach Marlin and hire somebody from Presbyterian, would that really excite the program? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it's hard in a conference like ours where success is measured by 3 to 4 days in March, right? When you're in a league like ours where only one team makes the tournament and that team who makes the tournament is the one who wins their conference tournament, it's hard to gauge success. So that's why I point back to the since 2014 statistic. We've seen more conference wins than any other school, because I think that's something that we take for granted. Like, sure, we may struggle at times, and it's important to have accountability for sure. But we've seen more wins than any other team in our conference.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a tough conversation, tough deal, especially given at this time. You know, I feel like most people appreciate what Marlin has done over the past decade or so for the program. He's done a really stable job, hasn't done anything really wrong, hasn't really done anything crazy exciting. He's just, kind of just a solid coach. And this year, unfortunately, just not having really the best of years, just not really gelling. So I'm curious to see how this game goes. I'm hoping UL wins, but I got to take Texas State here.
Yeah, I'm taking UL -1. I think Texas State, their last season's conference regular season champion. They struggled a little bit. They won the game on Thursday. They didn't cover. They're coming on the road. These two teams are drastically different in the way that they play, right? Louisiana likes to run up and down the floor. Texas State takes their time, late shot clock, lots of passes, lots of movement. I think with a home game, and as you said, the pressure on the team to perform, I think Louisiana takes this one. All right, last game for Thursday night. Wild spread. What's your first reaction on this spread, Jordan?
Damn. That is my first reaction on this spread. Damn. I mean, 15.5 points. That's not a spread you normally see in the Sun Belt Conference, Jacob. I mean, I don't remember a spread going up to even double digits.
Yeah,
Nevertheless,
we're a conference where anybody can beat anybody on it. We saw ULM 8-point underdog, and we said that was a big spread, and they won the game outright.
exactly. This is I kind of have a bone to pick with South Alabama. We picked them the last 2 times, feeling pretty confident going in to the games. And what has happened each of the 2 times, they have gotten off to just slow starts. And I don't know what exactly is going on, if they're just not running their offense, if it's just early game jitters or what. But if they get off to any slow start this game, they're not covering that 15.5 point spread. There's just no way, especially if they come out the past 2 games like they have in the past 2 games. 15.5 points is just a lot of points here. And don't get me wrong, South Alabama is clearly the better team, clearly more talented, clearly has the better coaching, has the better everything in this one. But 15.5 points is just too much for me to give up. So I'm going to take Little Rock here at plus 15.5. I do not think they're going to win this game. I'm not saying that at all. I can actually see this being sort of a double-digit victory, just not 15.5. I can see it being more to like 10 to 12. South Alabama should have really no problem with this game at all. They should be sort of in control the entire time. Coming in 7-13, 2-6 in conference. Little Rock really isn't playing for much here. They kind of know where their seat is going to be at this point, just their given nature of how they're playing, where they're going. South Al, on the other hand, they're still playing for something. They're playing for seeding. They're playing for sort of just the overall record here, and they're at home, so that should be a big advantage as well. But 15.5 is just too much for me. I can't see it happening. I could be totally wrong. Probably will be. South Al will probably win by 25 and, prove me wrong. But I can't just give up that many points. That's too many points. So give me Little Rock at plus 15.5.
You will be wrong. I'm taking South Alabama minus 15.5. They're at home. This first half struggling isn't going to happen. They're not on the road. They're ready to come out and dominate. Prior to this weekend, they were in the hunt for the conference championship. They were in the hunt. And although they're playing from behind now, they still want to prove that they're one of the better teams in our conference this season. They've got talent. I've talked about them a couple of times now. Charles Manning, the LSU transfer. This is a talented player. South Alabama plays fast. Little Rock does not have the depth. We saw UL blow out Little Rock. And we saw South Alabama beat UL, right? So if we're using like the transitive property, South Al's got them too. I just think this is going to be a blowout. Little Rock doesn't have much to play for. South Alabama has something to play for. They're trying to improve their seeding. They're at home in front of their home crowd. They're coming off of a 3-game losing streak that they want to nip in the bud. Just like you, I don't see them losing, especially with the 15.5 points. Vegas knows that this team is not going to lose the game.
Right.
But I think this is just going to be a blowout. I think South Alabama really proves what kind of team they are. And if I'm wrong, it doesn't look good for South Alabama as they try to close out this season. They started off really, really hot.
No, I mean, if they win by 12, 13, that's, even 9 or 10, it's a good win. It's a solid win. Little Rock is, last in the conference, so it's not overly impressive. But if they come out and, they're down 20 to 30, or let's say they just have been doing
South Al sends in the walk-ons. That's how I think it's going to be like that. It's going to be a game where they send in the walk-ons.
You're confident. You're really confident. Who knows? Out of the gate, it could be all South Alabama. And they might come out with that eye of the tiger and that passion that we just didn't see the past 2 games, which would be nice. Just because, again, I feel like, man, 15.5 points, that's just a lot. It's a lot to go out ahead, and, anything can happen in this conference. So hopefully South Al has a good, disciplined, solid win, just not more than 15.5. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. So our picks down the line, I've got App -6.5, Troy -3, Georgia State money line, UTA even game, so money line, UL -1, and South Al -15.5. Jordan, your picks.
Yeah, so we both have App State at 6.5. We both have Troy -3.
You changed yours to money line for this next one.
Yes, we both have Georgia State money line. It's only 1 point, so it doesn't necessarily really matter. So we both have Georgia State. We differ on the ULM UTA game. I have ULM money line. We differ on the Texas State UL game. I have Texas State money line. And then we differ on the South Al and Little Rock game. I have Little Rock at +15.5. So those first 3 we agree on. Those last 3 we don't. Hopefully we can start off strong, both at 3-0, and we can kind of just see where it goes from there. Who knows? We might end up sort of breaking even on this one. I'm hoping to come out again at least 4-2. We had a very good week, or I should say a very good day Saturday. Hopefully we can continue that, and hopefully we don't just completely suck on Thursday picks. But I feel pretty confident with this overall. It should be some good games this Thursday. Going to be tuning in as much as I can, just to see how the games are going to be going down. My game of the week again is going to be Troy at Arkansas State. I'm really looking forward to that one. I hope, Troy can keep up the momentum, and hopefully, keep putting some respect on their name. Troy's kind of been that team for us. So looking forward to it. Hopefully it goes well. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the games on Thursday. I think there's going to be some really good ones. We might see some upsets like we did this past Saturday. I'm interested to see how our overall records will look after this slate of games. But no, that's pretty much all I got. Thank you all again for tuning in to the video. Go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment down below of your picks. We love to interact, and follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @SunnyInTheBelt_. That's pretty much all I got. Jordan?
Yeah, guys, we love interacting. Make sure to subscribe, follow the channel, follow our Twitter page. If there's any specific bets that y'all would like to see us do, I know we kind of just been picking, spreads and which team we want. If y'all want to see some over or unders, we're more than happy to do that. Or if you want to see maybe a couple of games get parlayed with each other, which games we think, could be some locks, give us a comment and let us know. We love doing that. This is not just a Sunbelt channel. This is also a gambling channel at the end of the day. So, it's legal here in Louisiana. We can do it all. We have it at the tips of our fingers on our phones. So it's pretty easy. So if there's anything specifically, betting wise, y'all want to see, drop a comment, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be in touch. We love communicating with everybody. So, yep.
Head out, support your teams. Sunbelt fans who are watching this video, go to the games, man. Those teams can use, fans make a difference in the stands.
That's right. And it's nice to have fans be back in the stands. So don't ever take that for granted as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Peace.